legends, I hope you're all fantastic. As 2025 is coming to a close, and as I've had some time to reflect on the year past, I wanted to put this video together to give you a little update on the channel and my life in general. If that interests anyone at all, I do have to begin by giving you all a massive thank you for supporting the channel, for watching the videos, continuing to tune in to the content that I make on here. Extra special thanks to my amazing patrons who keep the lights on in here with their support over on Patreon, and to anybody who has taken the time to check out some of the music that I make with my band Ragdoll, to come to a live show that I've done, or to pick up some of my blocks, libraries, and presets. It all contributes to making this possible on here. And I have to say, in 2025, I think I've actually enjoyed making videos more, if it was possible to enjoy it more, because I definitely enjoyed it up to this point. But 2025 has had some of the most satisfying content that I've made on the channel, and it's also had some of the most satisfying musical moments for me as a professional guitar player as well. And I'll talk about some of those in just a little bit. But I think probably the biggest change that people would have noticed on the channel is that I'm working out of a totally new space. So my wife and I bought a house at the end of last year, and it felt like we'd just thrown a bunch of boxes in here, moved some of our stuff, and then it was Christmas and it was New Year's, and then I had a full season of Club Cabaret for Perth Fringe pop up. So it probably wasn't until about March or April that I got a chance to actually move most of my stuff into this space and really start working in here. And I think it's one of the best changes I've ever made, just for my general creativity and workflow and efficiency. But also, it's a much smaller space. It's meant I've had to think about the things that I actually need to do what I do on here. And it's been a really satisfying experience putting that together. You can see over here, I've still got some of the racks. I've got some of my amps in here. You can't see them at the moment, but I have my studio rack in here, my studio monitors and my lights, a nice big curtain on here that I can pull across and just kind of get into the zone and get into the flow on here. But I just have to walk out that door, take one right turn, and I'm in the lounge room and the kitchen. I can go in there and forget about all of this if I'm not feeling the vibe when it comes to playing guitar or making a video. There's a whole bunch of other things that I can do around the house. I can get into the garden, I can hang out with the cats, I can do some maintenance on the house, and it's been such a lovely move for not just me, but for my wife and I. And, that sort of happiness that comes from putting the time in, I think, to things that are really important in your life. And, music is something that is very important to me, but being a guitar player, being a content creator here on YouTube, being a musician is only part of the human experience at the end of the day. So definitely trying to find some more time in that regard, and having this space in here now has made that a lot easier to just actually schedule my time and treat this a lot more for what it is, which is now a full-time job for me. I'm so fortunate to be able to make loud guitar noises for a living, and whether that is coming in here and making videos that are about guitar playing, or they're about guitar tones, or they're demoing products, or they're doing the gear podcast with my friend Troy, being able to do all of that from this space and really customize it the way that I like it. And honestly, the phrase less is more gets used and abused, but I wouldn't say that this is necessarily less. It's just slightly less overkill from what I was doing before. I had all the gear out all the time, and now it's a little bit more about curating that experience for myself and hopefully for everybody else. So that was definitely the big highlight, was getting into this space, and I'm still working on it. I will do a studio tour hopefully in January or February in here, just show you what I'm actually using every single day, maybe talk about some of the things that I have changed from what I was doing previously, and a couple of the things that maybe I've had to redo a couple of times over, so that you can learn from my mistakes. That's hopefully something I can offer, if nothing else. Like, just don't do what I did, then you might have some success. So that's the big change here on the channel. In terms of the actual channel itself, I've been blown away by the response I've gotten this year. The channel crossed over 100,000 subs at the end of last year. I think we're up to about 130 at the moment. That's a really nice number, but the thing that makes me so happy is seeing so many people who have followed the channel for the last 7 or 8 years continue to come back. And I've seen a lot of talk this year about people on YouTube who have maybe lost the passion for making videos, or maybe it's not worth their time from a financial perspective, or just the time invested, or they're not getting the number of views they would normally see on there. I said this when I started my channel. I've said it before. I will say it again. The main thing for me is that I make content on here that if I was a viewer, I would personally want to watch. That is the number one goal on here, to just make things that I think are cool. And if you guys think they're cool and you keep coming back, that's fantastic. Thank you. If you don't, and you don't want to subscribe to the channel anymore, and you feel like there's other people out there you want to watch, or you've got other hobbies that you're into, that's totally fine as well. That is the beauty of YouTube as a platform. You know, it's designed to give you all the choices on there for wherever you are at the particular time of day, the particular point in your life. And there's been some people who I've seen follow the channel, jump on the Discord server, who have fallen off the radar and they've come back again. And that really warms my heart to see people come around to playing guitar, because it's been such a big part of my life and it has brought me so much joy and so much. It's hard to quantify how much music and guitar has really given in my life. It's such a source of well-being for me. So in terms of the actual channel, in terms of doing that, I really have been enjoying it. I've been loving it in 2025. I thought I was loving it previously, but I think having the extra sort of customized space in here, having the chance to work with some of my favorite brands and companies and do videos that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Like, I have this notebook on here where I write down video ideas all the time, and I've actually been able to get through some of those. And I think some of that has come down to the fact that I did a lot of traveling this year. I did a lot of traveling last year, maybe slightly less this year, but it did mean that I had to be smart and think about scheduling content a long way in advance. And especially because I went to the UK and Spain for 5 or 6 weeks, I wanted the channel to keep ticking over on there. So thinking about some of the videos that I've been putting off for a long time, like the 5 Killer Riff series, some of the 5-minute lick series, some content for my Patreon as well, and just trying to work that extra little bit hard when I am in here to get those finished. And then when I'm not in the studio, I'm not stressing or worrying about what I have to do when I get in here. I think that's made a big difference as well. When I'm in here, I know exactly what I'm going to be able to do. I can be focused. And I think I'm somebody who's generally pretty self-motivated, and I can focus in on things. And that seems to be when I really have tasks to do, then I can still be really creative within those restrictions on there. And I think that's another factor that I've really enjoyed this year, just in terms of the channel, in terms of the home studio in here, in terms of my playing. Like, there's been a bunch of sort of new licks and styles and tunes I've always wanted to learn that I've been putting some work into on here, and having the chance to go out and play live and try to incorporate some of those ideas has been really nice. And speaking of playing live, 2024 was the busiest I've ever been touring and playing live, and 2025 got pretty close to that. It started off with a club cabaret season at Perth Fringe Festival in January and February. That took up the better part of my summer, and the whole show really felt like it leveled up. A much bigger venue than I've ever done with this show. Some incredible acts, including a duo hair hang and sword swallowing fire. I had my buddy Danique do a handstand on me every single night, which wasn't something that was part of the gig description, but as we went along and had fun with the show, these kind of things just evolved. I was also super stoked with the tones that I got to pull on this show, and being able to do the show in my hometown, have friends and family come out every night, and also use a whole bunch of different guitars and different gear on the gig was really nice. Plus the advantage of being able to sleep in my own bed every night, which I definitely appreciate. It was like being on tour, but kind of like being at home at the same time. We also managed to squeeze a ragdoll gig in there as well, and had a bunch of the Club Cabaret crew come out to that one. If any of you who are watching this came out to see either of those shows, a massive thank you. It meant a lot to see so many friends and family come out to that one. Basically, as soon as that season finished, though, I headed over to Melbourne for the Melbourne Guitar Show, which is like Australia's mini NAMM, really focused on all the different distributors and manufacturers in here. I thought it was awesome seeing all the large international brands represented on here, but also initiatives like Pedal Empire's Pedal Playground on there with a bunch of Aussie manufacturers. And I have a full vlog detailing all of this up on the channel. I also did some workshops there, both for the Melbourne Guitar Show itself, doing like an open Q&A instructional forum, and then for Fender. I also got to play so many amazing guitars and meet so many great people as well. Felt like as soon as I got back from the guitar show, though, we were back on the tools with Ragdoll. One of my favorite shows of the year was the Sunset show that we played on Rottnest Island. Full production. We did 2 full sets as the sun was going down in incredible weather with a massive crowd. They really look after us there. And we do have a couple of shows on Rotto coming up this summer, which I'm super excited about. So that was just awesome vibes all around. And also, you know, the great thing about going on Rottnest is the quokkas. It's impossible to look at a quokka and not be happy. So that was a fantastic one. Having moved into the new place and having had a full season of gigging under my belt, I finally had a couple of months in the middle of the year, sort of April and May, to settle in, where I got my main room sorted. More about that in a little bit. But then I got one of the coolest gigs pop up, which was playing guitar in the middle of Perth Stadium for the Socceroos versus Japan World Cup qualifier. Played a couple of tunes there, and they went all in with the production. There was pyro. I had a cameraman following me around everywhere. Again, this was one of the gigs of a lifetime for me. It was so unexpected, and it was such a thrill. Hearing that guitar tone echo around that stadium is something I don't think I'll ever forget. So that was a massive, massive highlight, not just for 2025, but I think in my life. It's the sort of gig that as a young guitar player, I'm sure all of us dream of doing one day. I went from that. We had a few more Ragdoll shows across the year, which were really, really well received. And then I went over to Edinburgh in Scotland with Club Cabaret for a full season of Fringe there. And Edinburgh Fringe really was something else, playing the show in a much more intimate venue, and having to share the venue with a bunch of other acts meant that we were sort of in and out. And I had a lot of downtime while I was there, which I really appreciated. Got to see a couple of great shows. And anybody who knows anything about Edinburgh Fringe knows that it's the biggest Fringe festival in the world. There are just so many acts that you can go out and see, whether it's music, comedy, cabaret, super mainstream stuff, super underground stuff. That was something that, again, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do, but I loved every second of it. I also got the chance to go on a holiday afterwards around Scotland and Spain. Spent my 10th wedding anniversary there with my wife, which was something super special. Basically, a week after I got back, I went over to Queensland and did the 100 Guitars performance, which was a piece of art music by Tim Brady, basically creating the world's biggest chorus pedal. And that performance is up online if you want to check it out. And then I think the highlight of all highlights for me, being a cricket fan, was getting to play on the roof of Optus Stadium with Ryan for the first ball of the Ashes series. Being able to play at the stadium not once, but twice, and to get to share it with one of my best mates and somebody I've been playing music with for so long. Again, such a special way to cap off an amazing year of gigging. Playing live for me still is where everything flows from as a musician for me. You know, it is that thing where I go out and play a show. Even if I feel like I don't play particularly well, if the show's well received, if there's a good hang with the band and some of my mates who come down, that is like a sustaining life force for me, and really important, I think, in terms of developing as a person and as a musician. One of the coolest experiences I had outside of all of that was being able to go out and hang out backstage at Metallica when they played here, and I did a whole vlog about this. I mean, I got to hold Greenie in my hands, and going backstage with my wife Elspeth and Ragdoll's drummer Cam, getting to hold some of these iconic instruments, to hang out with Justin and Chad and chat to them about how they put such an amazing show together, really, really opened up my eyes. I've got a whole vlog about it, like I said, if you want to check that one out. But that would not have been possible if it wasn't for this platform that I'm afforded on here, and to all of you amazing people who continue to watch the videos, tell your mates about it. And, you know, it means a lot to me to not only get those opportunities, but to be able to share them. And like I said earlier, trying to give back to the community in any way that I can, I think is really important, because when I was 13, 14 years old, really getting into guitar and getting into music, I couldn't get access to any of this stuff growing up here in Perth, Western Australia, like a super isolated city. You just never got those opportunities. So much of what we now take for granted in terms of being able to get guitar sounds and being able to set up our guitars and just enjoy the instrument, whether you're a professional or a hobbyist, that information wasn't accessible at all. We take it for granted that it's so easy to get this up close and personal sort of relationship with now our favorite artists and performers. If I can in some way give back to some of that and imagine myself as a 13 or a 14-year-old getting this information and really soaking it in. Again, that's what's important to me here on the channel. I do strive really hard to consistently put out material and try to put out a lot of material, but I still stress that it's got to be good content. Right? I don't really want this to devolve into a reaction channel or something where I'm just regurgitating other people's content and, doing a 14-minute video where 13 minutes of it is just sitting there through a video saying, oh, this is what somebody else said. How do I feel about that? I mean, that's what the podcast is for. It's just me and Troy hanging out on there. And it's been really nice knowing that people enjoy the podcast outside of this format that I do on here, the kind of ecological niche that I found for myself. And I'm super proud of Troy as well for going out and starting his own YouTube channel, and to a bunch of other people who have watched the channel for a long time who now have their own channels on there. I've always said that the more voices, the better, the more perspectives when it comes to guitar sounds, approaching guitar playing, guitar gear. That's the beauty of this platform at the end of it. So that's sort of been my 2025 in the rearview mirror. There's some highlights. Again, hopefully you guys find this interesting. Some of the personal stuff, I'm never sure how well people react to that. I don't really mind. This is mostly for myself so that I can just maybe express the gratitude that I feel for getting all these opportunities. And most importantly, the fact that I've been in good health for all of 2025 and so have my loved ones. And that is something that I stress I do not take for granted. It's something that, hunched over a guitar, sitting in a dark room or doing a lot of traveling and having these late nights can take it out of you. So I have been putting extra effort in 2024 and 2025 to try to spend some time with the people that I love a little bit more, maybe not to get so obsessive about being in this room, making content. Like I said earlier, when I get in here, being hyper-focused, getting it done, and then spending some quality time outside of that. And also just in general, trying to be kind to myself. And I think if anything, we can all be a little bit kinder to ourselves and to one another. And as corny as that sounds, I will just say again, thank you all so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. It just would not exist without people who actually tune in, and to all my amazing patrons, the people who check out the music, and you, if you're just watching this, I hope you have a fantastic holiday season, however you choose to celebrate it, wherever you are in the world, and a fantastic start to 2026 and beyond. Thank you. I'll see you all soon.